Alright, on this video, I'm gonna make a quiz using ExamView Generator, or the questions from ExamView. So I think mine looks a little bit different right now than it does at school. That's just because I think I'm at home. At school, you've got access to everything. Here, I only have access to the big ideas. So let's go ahead and we want to get our questions. So create a new test using a wizard. So click on that. Let's call it today's date, January 23. Let's use Algebra 1. And I'm going to do systems of equations. Next. You have a lot of different choices here. I didn't have a lot of luck with the matching, but I haven't messed around with it very much. I typically have been sticking with the multiple choice and the bimodal. So, and what I normally have been doing is choosing all of those questions and then deleting which ones I don't want. Right now, for time-wise, I'm only going to choose 5 questions. And I don't know if you in the background you could hear Ellie just whined because she thinks I'm talking to her and not petting her. So here I've got 5 questions. And I really like all 5 of these questions. But let's say I want to create more of the same type. What I do is I just right-click, duplicate. And I like to have a lot of duplicates so that when I do the test or the quiz, you have a nice answer bank where you can choose a lot of them from. So if you really like one type, you can duplicate it a lot. So how many do I have here? I think I have about 17. Yeah, okay. So now I want to save that. So I go to File, Export. Choose the very bottom one. And I'm going to give it January 23, today's date. If I were a little bit more serious about that, I'd probably do more of like a 5.1 or a 5.2 so that in future I would know exactly what it was. Right now I'm just doing randomness. Then hit OK. Now I need to go to my quizzes. I'm sorry, I need to import that material first. So go to Settings. You want to import course content. And did this once already as a test. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Choose the bottom one. And create a new question bank. And I'm going to give that question bank a name of, that's actually right, January 23. And we'll spell it correctly. Choose the file, and it was on my desktop. And then hit Import. And it's always nice if it goes a little faster. We'll sit here in awkward silence for a minute. All right, so now I've got that. I go back to quizzes. And I want to manage my question bank. That's what I just imported right there. I don't know why it doesn't give it the name. I typed in a name, but I haven't had a lot of luck. I don't know if I'm doing something incorrect. So I just go ahead and I hit Edit. And January 23rd. And you can always double check and make sure it's the right one because it's going to have that time when you just did it. And then hit enter. So now let's go back to quizzes. The quiz that we had been working on was today's quiz. We already had 4 questions in it. So I'm going to edit that. Go to questions. And before we were typing in new question. This time I want a new question group. So you want to link it to the question bank. And these are all the question banks I have. And if you notice, it's bringing up some of my pre-calc question banks, which is nice. I haven't had any success that if you use a question bank and then you put it into Commons and then pull it back out, it seems there's probably some copyright rules that won't let you do that. So January 23rd, select the bank. Let's say I want to pick 5 questions and I want to make each one of them 2 points. So what it's going to do is randomly pick out 5 questions, and each student might get a different 5 questions. I like this in my pre-calc where I might give them 2 attempts on a quiz so that their quizzes are not exactly the same. And then when you're done, instead of update, you're just going to create group. So then you've got a group of questions where it's going to randomly pick 5 and it's going to assign 2 points each. If you want to download all the questions at once, you can click Find Questions. And it's going to look something like this. And you don't know what all those questions are. Maybe you do, but I don't. So what I would probably do is make a printout. So you have a list of those ahead of you. You know what multiple choice question number 11 looks like. And what you can do then is you can sort those into different groups. So if you downloaded an entire chapter, you could sort them into each lesson, like 5.1, 5.2. It might take a little bit of time, but in the long run, it'll save you time. But if you also just want to have a quiz with certain questions, like, hey, I want to make sure everybody gets 26, 29, and number 5. You could just click on those and add the questions. And then there they are. And again, at the end, you want to make sure you hit save. If you hit save and publish, the students will be able to see it. I don't want to do that right now because I said I'm going to be deleting this quiz when we get done. But there, I've saved it. And again, it's always a good idea to preview and go through. So I know one thing that I forgot to mention. I saw the point value. When you use those question banks and you don't tell it how much to give each one, it's going to assign a point value of 100 points. You don't want that to be 100 points when everything else is 1 or 2 points. So you'd want to go and keep on editing. Go back to questions. Scroll down to where those are 100 points. Click the pencil where it says edit. And then you can change the point value. And again, you want to make sure you update after each one, because if you don't update it, it won't save it. Oops. And if you wanted to change those questions slightly, you could. And then again, hit save at the end. So right now this quiz is worth 22 points. There's no time limit. We can give them multiple attempts. You have 2 attempts. There's going to get the highest one. You want them to be able to review their responses immediately and see their correct answers immediately. So those are kind of the basics on using ExamView. Again, the best way to actually learn it is just to kind of mess around with it and do some trial and error.